Oh, hi there. Come in. I assume you're here to expose my house?
Hi, I'm Rich Leary. I've read this property from Lighthouse Property Services and I've lived here since 1st of August. The problems when I arrived were quite great actually. We've got a floorboard in my room that's broken. You can tell they're broken compared to. We had about 3 or 4 chairs in the kitchen that were actually damaged. 2 of them were unusable.
How annoying is that?
It's actually quite frustrating, especially when you sit on them. It's quite daunting sometimes whether you're going to be on the floor or not. We've also rang and been into Lighthouse to sort these problems. 2 of the chairs have been taken away but not replaced. The floorboards haven't been looked at, and the sofa's been looked at, but still nothing has been done about it yet. So when I try and sit down in the kitchen, I can't, and then when I come into the living room, I can't sit down either, because when I sit down, look what happens, it just comes in straight in the middle. It's rather uncomfortable at times. We complained obviously when we moved in, the day we moved in, and they came through a few weeks later to check, and about 3 months down the line, still nothing's been done.
So there have been recently a number of issues in respect of Lighthouse property management, and lots of people have lots of opinions. However, a number of these are not necessarily clear or proven. Students are really poor at bringing us their details of their concerns or their experiences which might be causing them a problem.
I don't know who the head of the accommodation is at the University of Lincoln.
I know that students can get as far as the student union. I know that they can get as far as the student support centre in the main admin building.
If I did know who the head of accommodation was at Lincoln University, I'd really think about taking my problems to there, seeing if they had any advice or solutions for it.
So right now we have a number of cases coming forward about what some students might consider to be damp issues. Because of the weather and because of the setup of those particular properties, they're actually about condensation. And educating young people who may never have experienced this away from home is quite a challenge.
This is the fire alarm that's damaged. Obviously you can see around it all the water marks and the water damage. And we use our little baking tray to collect the water. It drops. To be fair, I wouldn't rate it at all. If I knew what they were like before I moved in, I probably wouldn't have chosen them, and I definitely won't be re-signing with them next year. We do have a lot of properties, which is understandable, taking some time to get around, but things like the fire alarm are pretty serious things to miss, and I don't really appreciate being waiting around when it could be a health situation.
Hi, I'm Tom Godwin, the manager of Club Easy here in Lincoln. I think one of the main things that makes us different is that we own our properties. So they're our properties and we don't have to ask someone to do any work on them. So if something goes wrong, we like to think that we're a lot quicker in reacting to them problems. I think all of our houses are passed over in a very high standard. We do a complete refurb at the beginning or the end of each contract, and we have a month to turn around all of our properties. So we have a maintenance team that goes in and carries out any maintenance, fully paints them out, and then a cleaning crew that goes in afterwards to make sure that they're fully cleaned when the new tenants move in.
Why does she need to leave the property? Because she's pregnant?
She doesn't.
Why does she think she has to?
I don't know, and it's an ongoing issue that I am dealing with.
There isn't a tenancy agreement in the land that gives you the option to withdraw because of pregnancy. So we would need to promote a reasonable solution.
I'm quite stressed at the minute, but nothing too bad. The baby's fine, so I'm happy. I think they've done a lot, but they said they would be in touch and they haven't. I have no help regarding further accommodation. I can't afford it, so I have no choice but to live back at home next year.
You know, you've accepted a responsibility as a student, and having spoken to the lady, she actually wants to try and complete as much of her year as possible. Therefore, the issue is releasing her from her agreement at a time that's convenient to both, actually, so she can go and do what's going to happen naturally, and that the landlord also can say, well, actually, in that circumstance, I sort of got as best as I could. So my understanding is that she will be offered a release earlier than the end of her original agreement.
And I was disgusted. I have to move at nearly 8 months pregnant. I have received no help in alternative accommodation, and they've only shortened my tenancy till March because the uni investigated it. Apparently they can't kick me out for being pregnant. They are money grabbers. I'll be moving out before that, but I can't afford money on another place, so I'm leaving uni and living with my boyfriend, his mum and his brothers and sisters.
Personally, I would go away, get a copy of my contract, and I'd look at what my options were. It's all right going around and saying obviously things and putting stuff on message boards, but you need to look at what your options are, what you're currently signed up to as a contract, and then make some decisions from there.
They said I would have to find someone to alternatively live there or be liable for my rent, but this is not my fault. They are the ones who want to terminate my contract, so why should I pay?
She doesn't need to leave the house because she's pregnant, and at no point has any member of Club Easy staff said that. As far as I'm aware, the university has finished investigating the case. Obviously the situation is still ongoing, but yes, I would still expect to be credited by the university.
Well, the university never investigated the case. We spoke to a lady who had very similar circumstances to those that you describe in the terms of well-being, and I think a reasonable solution has been offered to the student.